What's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about injuries and we have a whole lot of stuff to cover because I've had loads of requests about how to recover from small injuries, when you should stop training because of an injury, how to keep trucking forward when you're injured. So many things to talk about. I want to tell you guys, in addition to all of that, some stories about me training and having injuries in camp, and then my favorite recovery tools which I've been utilizing for quite a long time. So we're going to discuss everything injury related today. So the first thing I really noticed over the last 2 years with the duration of the pandemic and being unable to compete is, even though I kept up my cardio and my conditioning, I stayed in shape, my body was not getting the same impact that I'm used to. And now that I'm back in fight camp, I'm going, oh my gosh, it hurts and the injuries are popping up, and you have to always be training around them. And it's very frustrating when you want to constantly be progressing and improving, but then you have an injury which either plateaus you or you have to take time off and you feel that decline coming. That's not what we want. So we are going to talk today first about what you should do in terms of injuries and keeping your training on track. So the first thing that I want to tell you guys is there's different tiers of injuries. There's the ones which are just little bumps and bruises, like you throw some kicks on the bag when you're getting back into training camp and the knuckles of your toes get really sore. Or maybe you punch the bag too many times and your hand knuckles get a little bit sore. Those are just sort of the superficial surface injuries. You get kicked in the leg too many times, okay, that kind of hurts, but it all recovers fairly fast as long as you give it enough healing time. And it's very simple. Use things like tape to wrap around either injured digits or even around your toes. I take the tape, hockey tape, this is just like $3 or $4 a roll, and sometimes I'll just wrap it right around my toes to protect the knuckles, or if I got a little toe that got twisted or bent or something, just give it some support by wrapping it to the other toe. If you have a hand that got injured and you're going, oh shoot, my left wrist is injured and it needs recovery time, well, just stop using it. Stop using it until it feels recovered. In the meantime, you can use all your other limbs and just keep this as a defensive tool to make sure you're not getting hit. And I've had to do this so many times throughout my career where I've had training camps where I went, oh shoot, my right leg is so injured that I can't even kick with it for pretty much the entire camp. And you know what? You just truck forward and you move on and you keep finding a way to allow your training not to get slowed down. So those are just the easy injuries which you can basically just train around. Next up, you have kind of that mid-tier injury level where I go, I need to actually respect this injury. I can't just train through it. I can't just put it to the side. I need to actually go and put some physiotherapy time in and potentially take time off or really change the way I'm training. So for instance, you roll your ankle. Maybe somebody sweeps you and you come down and you roll your ankle and you're going, well, okay, I can't stand on my leg very well. I can't run, but maybe I can go and swim. Or I've had times before where somebody swept my ankle and I came down and twisted it and I was on crutches in the middle of fight camp. Actually, when I was competing for this one against Sergey Adamchuk, I think 3 weeks before the fight, my ankle got so twisted I was on crutches, and all I could do for about 4 days was go into the gym, use one of the recumbent bikes, but the ones that are for your arms. So you're just pumping with your arms. And I would go in for about an hour a day and just that's the only way I could get the cardio because I could not stand on the leg. And then for my second training session during the day, I would do sit-ups, push-ups, just things that allowed me to continue training, because it's just that mid-tier injury where it's severe, but if you avoid using the injured limb or body part, you can continue with your training at full capacity, at full effort. And then from there, we move into the very high intense injuries, which you just don't want to have, and they're a showstopper. They're the ones where you go, yeah, I need to take 2 or 3 days off. I hate these injuries because mentally I feel like I'm just declining so much. So for instance, your back gives out or your neck locks up, and there's really nothing you can do with those injuries aside from go, you know what, I have to prioritize my recovery, and then from there, once I'm back in the gym, even if it takes a week, then I'll push really hard. But you're better off taking full recovery time, for those high level injuries instead of waiting around and kind of training a little bit and just keeping the injury getting more and more inflamed, more and more damaged. So whenever I have an injury, I make the assessment. These are just my own sort of tiers, but that's basically how I break it down. Sort of the low level one where I just go, oh, you know what, I'm just going to keep training 100% and work around it if I need to, but it's not a big deal. The mid-level ones where I go, okay, I'm fairly injured, but there's other things I can do where I don't have to utilize the injured body part. And then those extreme high-level injuries where you go, I had to just stop. We just got to stop and recover, and that's all that's possible. So I'd say start off if you have an injury and just assess it. Now, in terms of how do you make your body tougher? How do you get through those low sort of impact injuries, which are just constantly nagging on you? That is a matter of time. Your body toughens up naturally, and if you find that you're getting bruised knuckles, sore shins, sore legs, knuckles of the toes are getting sore, everything like that accumulates and it's frustrating you, well, you have to wear it out. You have to keep training through it, and eventually your body will toughen up, in my experience at least, and those things don't pop up as much, and you're able to continue training through them when they do. And again, guys, this is all my personal experience. I'm not a medical professional. Obviously, I'm a fighter, a high-level pro fighter. So if you guys have any real injuries where you're going, ooh, I don't like this, you should go and get it checked out. And don't just take my word for it. Find an actual doctor and get them to give you a proper diagnosis. But I'm just letting you know exactly what I prefer to do. And obviously when I hit that mid or high level injury tier, that's when I'm seeking professional help. The low level ones for me, I'm just usually taking care of it on my own. Now I want to talk with you guys about recovery tools that I've been utilizing for a long time to make sure that I'm able to get back into the gym as quick as possible, or even if I'm not on a break, even if it's just like, okay, you know what, I bruised my leg, what am I doing to get back in and have people be able to chop me full power again as quick as possible. Now we've all heard the RICE acronym: rest, ice, compression, and elevation. So you can utilize all of those anytime you get injured. But in my experience, some of the other things that I like to add in, because people talk about icing, but there's not much talk about ice baths or cold water therapy. And it's so easy to do at home. If I have an injury like my back or something, a lot of times I'll do contrast showers where I go from hot to cold, hot to cold. Not full heat, because you might burn yourself, but as much as you can take, and then absolutely as cold as the water will go. I'll go a minute on, a minute off, usually for 10 minutes in total. And I find for injury prevention and stopping potential injuries from coming, because you're helping reduce inflammation, this helps so much. And if you live by the ocean or cold water, or you have an ice bath that you can get into, you can do that as well. Now, the first set of tools that I actually want to talk to you about is actually back to icing, but we're going to be using these awesome new sleeves. Now, I've talked about this Hydra gun with you guys before. This is a massage gun from a company in Singapore, and this is just a fantastic tool. They have lots of different pieces that attach onto the end here. What I really like about this gun, aside from the quality, because I've had this for a long time and it's been working great, but the noise factor, because I've seen some other people utilize these and they're so loud. And this one is just, I mean, you guys can hear. It's not crazy loud, and the battery life is fantastic. The only thing I will tell you about it is because it comes from, I think it's made in Singapore, but it's actually distributed out of Australia. So the outlet that you plug into the wall is Australian based, so you will have to buy an adapter. I already had one when I got this, but for me, this one works great. And I have the link down below, which you guys can grab this Hydra gun if you want, and also the Thermosleeve, which I'm going to talk to you about right now. Now, I only got this about a month ago, right at the beginning of fight camp, but I've been utilizing them and they're fantastic. And what this essentially is either an ice pack or a way to put something warm on your body, because when you pull them on, they're so well designed that they just stick right to your body. And one of the things that I always get frustrated with when I have an ice pack is I either have to hold it to my body or I have to find a way to strap it with tape. But with these, I can just slide them on, and either you can just wear them like this and get your icing done, or you can throw them in the microwave and then get that nice warm compression, because they squeeze a little bit as well. And even better is if you utilize this tool with these on. So now I'm going to bump this up a little bit more this time, so it'll be a little bit more loud. So I get it up to a level 3 speed, and through there, if I had forearm issues, I'm getting the cooling or the heating, whichever I choose, and I'm blasting away, and you're just going to get so much blood flow and reduce inflammation. These tools are ones that I'm utilizing in fight camp right now because, like I said, my body's not as conditioned as normal, and I'm definitely suffering with a few more bumps and bruises and finding them a little bit more aggravating than usual. So this Thermosleeve is fantastic. Again, if you guys want to get some of these, you're interested, I have a link down below with a promo code Gabriel Varga, which will save you, I think, $4 per sleeve. But they're not that expensive. So overall, I would suggest having these just in your freezer for just when you come back home and you have a little bump or bruise and you just slide them on. You can leave them there for 20 minutes and take them off, and you're not going to have to worry about getting your skin burnt like you normally do with an ice pack. Normally with an ice pack you have to wrap it up and put it on your skin so you don't get ice burn, but these, that's not going to happen. Now the next thing I want to talk with you guys about is the magnesium. I've talked about this so much. This is not a sponsored episode. This is just a company I really believe in. I really believe in the product. I've been popping these like gummy bears, and I want to read you something that I found today about magnesium. This was from a medical professional, just breaking down what magnesium does for you. And this person says magnesium is a mineral that plays a wide range of roles in the body. It helps activate certain enzymes that are important for repair or injured tissues. It also plays a role in nerve impulses necessary for muscle contraction and relaxation. Most people, especially athletes, end up deficient in magnesium because they lose a lot in their sweat and they don't get enough in their diet. A lack of magnesium has been shown to aggravate the inflammatory response. Consuming more magnesium, on the other hand, helps relieve inflammation and promote faster regeneration of injured tissue. I just thought that was a fantastic way to sum up exactly why I'm taking the magnesium and why I'm taking 4 pills a day right now to make sure I'm keeping up with what my body needs to make sure I'm recovering as fast as possible, because avoiding injuries in camp, especially when I'm trying to ramp up, it's pretty much impossible. Like every session I go in, unless I'm strictly hitting and it's just me touching pads, anything else, partner drilling, clenching, sparring, I come up with bumps and bruises. So I've been utilizing this and still my recovery is feeling better than normal. If you guys want to grab some, magnesiumbreakthrough.com/Gabriel and use the promo code Gabriel10 to get 10% off. And the last thing I want to say to you guys is recognizing sometimes that the breaks are okay. So if you feel like your body's at max capacity and the injuries are piling up, and you're thinking, oh shoot, I have a fight in 12 days and I can't possibly take a day off. Well, what I have learned over the years is that giving yourself sometimes a half day off or 1 day off means all the future sessions for the next 10, 12 days can be that much more intense, and you can push yourself that much more because you took that little recovery time and gave your body a chance to heal. So don't always have the mindset missing 1 training session is going to wipe out your ability to win fights. It's not the case. Obviously, we don't want to take a break every time we have a bump or bruise, or we're a little tired, or we just don't feel like it. But when you recognize occasionally that you're at max capacity, give yourself a break, and the injuries will heal up that much faster. And that's all for me today, guys. I just wanted to address this because I had a number of people asking how to help recover from the injuries, when to take breaks. I hope I covered everything today. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you haven't already, join the channel, get subscribed. Train hard, guys, and I'll see you back here soon for another video.